Hey everyone, welcome to another production podcast. I'm Jeff Skalski, RVR Cities Lead for Warhammer Online, Age of Reckoning. Now, you're probably wondering where Josh is at. Well, he's out at E3 and he asked me to fill in for him. Today I'd actually like to focus in on the capital cities and the RVR campaign. To really understand the changes, let's take a look at how the City Siege and RVR campaign works. Here's how the campaign in Warhammer Online is laid out. There are 3 racial pairings. Each pairing is a collection of zones through which players adventure and battle as they gain levels. These zones are organized into 4 tiers of gameplay. It's a little easier to understand if we picture it like this. Initially, each side controls an equal number of zones. The zones in each tier can be captured through various in-game RVR and PvE methods. Capturing lower tiers helps you capture higher tiers. It all leads to Tier 4, which is an extensive battlefront that gets pushed back and forth until one side ultimately sieges and captures their enemy city. It's only this last idea that each pairing has their own set of cities that has recently changed. It's a great system, but it encouraged ally realms to kind of take care of their own, and it worked against our idea of realm versus realm combat, which, as you might know, is something we at Mythic hang our hat on. The new system is essentially the same, but fixes this fractured approach to capital cities. Tier 4 is still a battlefront, and the front lines will be pushed back and forth in each pairing as originally planned. But, as opposed to 6 individual cities to siege and capture, Tier 4 is now capped with massive fortresses, one for each race. Collectively, these fortresses are the gateway to the final endgame of Warhammer Online, the capital cities of Aldorf and the Inevitable City. These cities are no longer simply the Empire City or the Chaos City, but now belong to all of Order and all of Destruction. Likewise, all the content that was planned across these 6 cities has now been rolled into 2. Really, you could consider the capital cities an unofficial Tier 5 of gameplay. They are now a single shining star for each realm, and likewise become a massive target for your enemies. And because all focus has been directed towards 2 cities instead of 6, the cities are bigger and more alive than it would ever have been before, spilling over with content and all the more tempting to siege and loot. So let's really get into how your realm can reach the gates of your enemy city. Capturing a fortress works exactly as capturing cities did before. Each side will have to move the battlefront towards their enemy's Tier 4 fortress. When they have managed this and captured the final Tier 4 zone, they can now siege that fortress. To open up the opportunity to attack Aldorf or the Inevitable City, players must capture 2 of the 3 fortresses from their enemy's realms within a certain amount of time. Once they do this, players can then rally and unite to focus their efforts on taking their enemy's city. Now, take a breather, because believe it or not, all that adventure and effort to get to the city gates is only the beginning. With 2 fortresses taken, the city is now in a contested state. This means that attackers flood the streets and defenders rally to kick them back out. These attackers and defenders are, of course, you. When a city is contested, each side, attacker and defender, begins to accumulate victory points. First, the entire city becomes an RVR public quest both sides take part in. The goal for this public quest is pretty simple. Burn everything and kill all the enemies you see. Additionally, there are battlefield objectives within the city for both sides to fight over. There are even a series of PvE-based quests, which we call Invader and Defender quests. Plus, a new massive city scenario awaits. As you can see, all aspects of the game that have gotten you to the city are in the city, and as you fight on these multiple fronts, you are accumulating victory points for your realm. Ultimately, there's a definitive number of victory points needed in order to win the city. If the defenders reach this goal first, the attackers are kicked out entirely, and Tier 4 in all 3 pairings resets to neutral. If the attackers reach the goal first, then the defenders are kicked out. Once the defenders are gone, yet another entirely new stage of city capture begins for the victorious attackers, looting the city. This is the culmination of all their effort, as the city dungeons open up for looting and the large-scale public quests are made available to them. The completion of these final, massive public quests are what unlocks the ultimate final encounter, capturing the city's king. But be warned, the defenders are rallying their troops, and the attackers will have a set amount of time to loot the city before they are eventually forced out and all of Tier 4 resets to neutral. As you can see, capturing a city is a massive undertaking, and the rewards for going all the way through and capturing the king are equally as massive. If, of course, you got what it takes. See you next time in another production podcast.